Welcome everybody to tonight's speed dating session. So if you'd all like to sort of sit down for your first table, we'll give you a couple of minutes and then we'll blow the whistle, and if you could all sort of move around clockwise. Just the people on the outside tables, please.
Hello.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, obviously, single. I came out as queer when I was about 16. I've been pretty happy with that, and I try to get on in life, be nice. Tell me a bit about yourself.
Well, I certainly think that you seem quite pleasant. For someone I've not met, obviously makes you a stranger. Yeah, very, very similar. I came out as queer myself. I think that makes us a couple of queer and pleasant strangers.
Greetings, strangers, queer and pleasant. I'm not Laura Kate Dale.
And I'm not Jane Aerith Magnet, and welcome to another episode of Queer and Pleasant Strangers, that podcast where a couple of queer trans ladies talk about our weeks, do some skits, have some voices, have a bit of a giggle.
That's us. That's what we do.
So how's your week been?
Ooh, it's been good. We went and saw some friends off who were travelling back to Australia for another 18 months, I think they go for.
We had a lovely garden party.
Lovely garden party.
Got to have a catch up with lots of people we've not seen in a while.
Got to dance barefoot in the grass.
Oh, that was some lovely grass.
It was very well manicured.
I think I described it as a well manicured lawn.
A lawn, yes, of course. It had stripes and everything.
Indeed, it was the sort of neighbourhood where everyone has well manicured lawns. It looks like everyone's gone by with a pair of scissors.
I'm glad it was a garden party, because I think I'd have been too afraid to touch anything in their house.
Yes, it was very nice to be like, outside, and
outside where the worst I can do is spill a drink.
Indeed, and some nice hippie blankets put up. It's like, haha, this looks like I can not damage anything.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
Lovely time.
It was a
lovely drinks, lovely people.
Indeed. I had a nice night out, listened to some song trolls.
Yeah, because you went on to the after party.
Yes, I went to the after party. I was like, why not? I'm going to go out.
I was like, all the opulence around here has tuckered me out.
I was tucking out, but I was like, I will sit there and just bop along in a chair and listen to some side trance. It'd be a lovely night.
And you did. You did that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So did you pick up anything good while you were out? Did you have funs there?
I had many, many funs. I chatted to some people. I had a lovely time.
Nice.
However, you know what I didn't do there?
What didn't you do?
I didn't do any playing of games, which is usually our first segment of the show.
That's true. That is true.
What have you played this week?
Ooh, well, not a huge amount. I'm still racking through Link to the Past randomised. I can't help it. I like it a lot.
I'm really glad that you found a thing that has made it fun for you to just endlessly replay one of your favourite games again.
Yeah,
I'm very happy about this.
I did quite literally sit down and finish the easy one and start immediately on the normal one.
Yeah, and it seems to be going well for you.
I've nearly finished that one as well, so Lorx knows what I shall do next.
Oh, indeed. We need to find some more randomised. We'll find an Ocarina of Time randomised or something.
Oh, I saw that. It didn't look good.
No, I was going to say I can't imagine that working in the same way.
No. It's not quite as open a world.
Yeah.
So, what about you? What do you play?
Well, I'll start off with another one that I've just been playing more of. Mm-hmm. Still pushing away with Dead Cells.
Oh, yeah.
It's an awfully fun game.
Have you beaten any more bosses?
I've not beaten any more bosses, but I'm very consistently getting a couple of levels beyond that first boss.
Nice.
So it's one of those, I constantly feel like I'm making progress, even though I'm very, 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 very slowly inching my way through that game.
Nice.
What else have you played?
I had a little go at Polygod this morning.
Oh, yeah, sounds that.
It looks like it was thrown together by a Unity tutorial, and this was what was spat out at the end of it.
That's not ideal.
Yeah, it didn't play terribly wonderfully.
I'm assuming it's a god game.
No. It's a first-person shooter.
Oh.
Where you shoot these weird coloured pills that shoot guns at you. that look like the I don't know if you've ever tried programming in Unity.
Yeah.
But the player icons that you slap down for first person, they're that sort of pill shape.
Yeah.
That's what some of the enemies were like in this.
Oh.
They were textured, but I was like,
Huh.
Yeah, I was not super impressed with that.
Understandably.
Yeah, I mean, I might try it a bit more, but I sort of slapped it on and just went, no.
So, I played another thing this week, and this is one that my friend Jim recommended. He said that he thought it would be right up me alley. There's a game called Donut Alley. Not Donut. It just said right up my alley.
And now you've got Jim stuck up your alley.
Donut County. So, have you heard anything about it?
I want to play it.
I have it. I'll have to set it up on the laptop for you. But yeah, it's a little bit Katamari Damacy. It's you play as a raccoon who runs a donut shop, and when people order donuts, he doesn't send them the donuts. He sends the hole from the donut, and it's basically move this hole around and try and make it grow by consuming things in order to consume everything in the map. There's a lot of funny dialogue. The Trashopedia with its descriptions of items is hilarious. It's only a couple of hours long. This is definitely you can complete it in a sitting.
Yeah, I saw a Steam review of someone saying they finished it in 1.3 hours. I was like, oh, that's...
Well, honestly, that's not surprising, but that's not a thing that... I know some people are like, oh, it's only 1.3 hours. For me, I'm often that's more likely to get me to try a game out, because I have such limited time to get through games. I like the idea of a small thing where it's this didn't outstay its welcome, I got to enjoy my story, I had fun, and now I've got to move on and feel like I completed a thing.
I think it's just because of the sort of regular comparisons I've heard made to Katamari games that I'm just like, I want more Katamari.
It's not gonna scratch the itch of the same amount of game, but it's a very similar feeling mechanic, and it is a nice touch of oh yeah, this is more of that. This is good.
I had a similar problem with Wonderful End of the World.
I didn't enjoy Wonderful End of the World very much.
It's not a good game.
No.
It depends how you control it, because weirdly with a controller it doesn't actually control terribly well. If you control it mouse and keyboard, there's a whole extra manoeuvre that's never been mapped to the controller for some reason.
Well,
Derp.
I did enjoy Wonderful End of the World, but I did enjoy Donut County an awful lot. So I will set you up with it, because it is a fun thing that I think it's the perfect length for the gag it's trying to go for and the thing it's trying to do. So yeah, what about you? You played anything else?
I played some Video Kid 80s Edition.
Oh, this is that Switch thing you were playing this morning.
That was the Switch thing. That was the other Switch thing I played this morning. But I also played Polygon this morning.
It looked very Paperboy.
It's essentially Paperboy, but you're just delivering videos instead of delivering papers.
How is it?
It's a nice little voxel graphics. It's very reference heavy. I think I've seen Fraggles, the Chipmunks. I've seen the TARDIS, a Dalek. That I'm pretty sure there's a reference to Back to the Future in there somewhere. I've seen giant crocodiles that live in the sewers. Yeah, it's very reference heavy. It's bloody hard. But then I also found Paperboy.
I
hard.
Can't do Paperboy. I'm no good at Paperboy.
I mainly played Paperboy for the music. But to be fair, I think even on an original Commodore 64, I could occasionally get through a map on this, and I have not got more than halfway through a street trying to deliver videos in Video Kids. So
are you enjoying it in spite of that difficulty?
Yeah, I will keep on pressing at it, but it'll probably be sort of more the one that I sort of go to and from rather than playing.
This is my game until I finish it or anything.
Yeah, it'll be one I keep coming back to because it's I get too frustrated with it too quickly.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, what about you? What else you got?
I think the only other thing I've really stuck some time into this week is Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate, which is the first Monster Hunter on Switch in the UK, and it was a port of a 3DS game. It looks pretty decent, even on a telly. It doesn't look as good as Monster Hunter Worlds, which is the big PS4, Xbox One, PC one, obviously. it looks like an up-res 3DS game more than a custom game for the Switch.
Does it look like a well-up-resed 3DS
Oh,
game?
it's decently up-res. I think it looks good. I've seen some people being like, "Oh, this looks a bit budget." I'm like, "No, I think this looks decent." It's a bit interesting going back to it now because I stuck a decent amount of time into Monster Hunter World, which it made a lot of changes to the way that world worked. It did a lot more this is one continuous world rather than a series of segmented areas connected by as you walk down this path, now there's a loading screen, now you're in the next bit.
Yeah.
Going back to segmented loading screens between areas reminded me of one of my biggest annoyances with the Monster Hunter series, which is monsters are able to stand within the loading area, and in attempts as a player to get close enough to the monster to attack it, you can accidentally trigger the time to move to the next area, without being able to hit the monster. And this has been a constant problem for the Monster Hunter series. I wish that there was an invisible barrier of just a few centimetres between, the monster cannot get more than X close to the loading point before they are, moving to the next area. Because a few times I have accidentally just tried to hit a monster and accidentally had to sit through a loading screen, then go back and sit through a loading screen to get back to it.
You say sit through a loading screen, roughly, are they long loading screens?
They're long enough that if you accidentally trigger one and have to wait for it to happen, then turn around and wait for it to happen again, that it's annoying. They're long enough to be irritating.
Okay.
In standard gameplay, if you're just oh, okay, I
intend to do this.
Yes, I intend to do this. I stuck a tracking pellet on it. I need to get across these areas. It's not a big problem.
Yeah.
It's more of I was in the middle of beating that thing up and I accidentally triggered a loading screen that has to then trigger another loading screen. It breaks up the flow of gameplay.
And does that reset their health or anything like that?
In theory, no.
Okay.
You've got the second or so of which you weren't dealing damage to it because you were in a different zone and then had to come back. If you accidentally did that while it was, say, eating some meat and recovering health, you might have a minor bit of health recovery, but it shouldn't be a huge issue.
Yeah.
Even with that, a little bit of a grumbly complaint, I personally prefer old Monster Hunter gameplay to Monster Hunter Worlds. I've been really enjoying just getting back into a Monster Hunter. I like having a handheld Monster Hunter that has proper dual analog controls again, because I played Monster Hunter on the 3DS, and the little second analog stick nubbin it's no replacement for a proper analog stick.
Nubbin.
It's nice to have a proper 2 analog Monster Hunter in HD on a handheld. I'm having a lot of fun with it.
Nice.
So, yeah. You played anything else?
No.
Well then, I guess it's time for this.
Do 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 do.
Do 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 do
Do do do do do.
do.
I think that's probably enough of that.
Yeah,
We don't want
that's
people
plenty.
getting too excited.
Exactly.
Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Grey Peter.
What are we doing today?
Well, first of all, I'd like to start with an apology.
An apology?
Our former co-host, Craig, has been asked to leave as he was wearing red socks that were quite exciting and visible during our last episode.
Oh no, that's a terrible distracting shame.
Yes, so that's all stopped now. We're going to keep the colours much more muted and far, far less interesting. So this week we're going to talk about how you can make things around your home less exciting.
First up, many people in their homes own throw rugs, used as a way to take a boring sofa and make it more colourful. We think these are a total waste of your space in your home. You should probably just get rid of them. go back to a bland, boring, predictable sofa.
If you really do need to cover the sofa because it's too exciting, perhaps you could get a nice grey blanket, or maybe bleach or dye the blanket that you have if that's too exciting.
Indeed.
Really tone it right down.
Also, we recommend getting rid of your doorbell, because who needs music every time someone shows up at your house? Just a standard single knock will do just fine.
Absolutely. If you've got any paintings or pictures around your house, you might want to just get some nice grey paint and cover those over.
This has been Making Your House More Dull.
Well, the last thing we've got this week, we've got a letter from one of our viewers. This comes from Keir Anderson, who says, "So I was talking with this fellow. We'll say his name was James, because his real name was a bit too unusual. Anyway, I asked him for the time, because I needed to travel to another location, and I wanted to know how long it was until I needed to leave. He told me the time, and it turned out that I had a very reasonable amount of time to get there, so I walked there at a leisurely pace and arrived on time."
Oh, I don't know, Keir. Leisurely sounds a little too exciting for this show.
Well, if you've got any boring stories you'd like to send in, do let us know, and we'll consider reading them out. Let's not have any excitement, though.
Let's not have too many. That might be a bit too exciting.
Indeed.
Until next time, this has been Grey Peter.
Do 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 do.
I said, have you heard there's been an uprising? The proletariat are coming. Understand they'll be overthrowing us richies any time now.
I've seen all these young poor people shouting things about tearing down the bourgeoisie and...
Well, there's some coming through the window now.
Oh, goodness. Oh, no. The problem is I don't really understand half of what they're talking about. I don't speak commoner, you see.
No, and I'm far too posh to sort of try and communicate them without the aid of one of our butlers. Unfortunately, they seem to have gone off.
Oh, indeed, try and push them away ourselves would be far too ghastly.
Oh, I'm not touching them.
Oh, no, they'll get their paws on me.
Yes, oh goodness, what are they? I think they're spraying me with barbecue sauce, dear.
Oh no, are they planning to eat the rich?
I think they're planning to eat the rich, dear.
I would run away, but where's Charles to help us make our escape?
Indeed.
Where is the person that helps us do these things
Where's
around
the
house?
footman?
Where's the footman?
I'm also very disappointed with this barbecue sauce. I was thinking perhaps a nice béarnaise or...
Well, if they can't be eaten, they could at least, make a proper meal out of us rather than making something so common and blasé.
I say, you oik! Have you considered that perhaps I'm far too important for you to just go overthrowing and then eating like some common rich person?
So,
what has found its way into your eye meats?
to my eye meats, well, I'm pretty sure the things that I've watched are also things that you've watched.
Pretty much.
So, let's start with the one we were watching tonight before we recorded, when we had dinner. Great News.
Yeah.
It's a Netflix show.
It is.
A woman works at a news channel, and her mum wants to get into news and ends up getting an internship there. Hilarity ensues.
Yeah.
It's a pretty funny show.
It's alright, yeah.
It's not yet been, like, I've not come across anything where I've gone, that's not woke. Or nothing too much.
There's bits, I mean, I get that, I think the few bits that I've sort of gone, ooh, have been, like, you're supposed to obviously notice that about that character.
Yeah, like there's the sort of older male boss of like male presenter of the news show who, at one point, like the joke is like, oh no, he's hitting on the younger employee of his. But it's like, oh, that's not meant to be comfortable. Like, it's meant to be like, this is not appropriate workplace, you know. Any time that someone behaves badly, it is very clearly like, this is not meant to happen, and there is like an outcome to it, I think. But I very much enjoy the interactions between our protagonist and her mother. I think that they avoided some very easy pitfalls of that kind of relationship and made it interesting.
She's a very overbearing mother.
She's a very overbearing mother, but like in ways where she at least like she learns lessons from her, like, oh, I need to be less over. Well, there was like the one with the bear. Like she realised she had to, like, oh no, being overbearing has like actually had a negative impact on my child. You know, I think she's learning.
See, the series continues.
Yeah, but I've been enjoying that.
Yeah, and you're getting a whole journalistic kick out of it.
Oh, there's occasional bits where I'm just like, oh, the journalist in me is having anxiety about this plotline. Oh no! Like that, we were watching an episode today where the whole thing was like, don't get scooped on that, like that thing you've been investigating, and you're so close to getting the scoop, and like you better not get scooped on it. I was having some proper anxiety about, like, I know the story's here, just where to find it. It's okay.
My poor babu.
But yeah, that's my thoughts on good news. It's been some fun watching.
Yeah.
What have you been watching?
We watched Cupcake and Dino.
General Services.
Cupcake and Dino. Cupcake and Dino.
General Services. It is a very again, I think this is a Netflix.
It reminds me of World of Gumball's animation style.
I was gonna say it feels very World of Gumball.
It's weird. I've never actually seen that show, but I've seen obviously like stills from it and stuff, and I just went, that's very good.
Okay, as someone who's watched some World of Gumball, this feels like World of Gumball without the like random out of nowhere occasional turns to like right wing politics. Are you unaware of this about World of Gumball?
No.
Occasionally they'll have episodes that just feel like out of nowhere someone kind of right-wing wrote them.
Okay.
Like, there is the, like...
I've seen that clip of the something about being woke.
There's an episode where the whole thing is one person is like... basically one of the characters goes on Tumblr and becomes an SJW and...
Yay.
And, no, but in the, like, oh no, they're complaining about things that aren't really problems and, like... It's because they got indoctrinated by
them
World of
damn
Gumball's
dirty
Tumblr.
SJWs.
Yeah, like it's the exaggerated, oh no, this is a bad thing SJW. Like, World of Gumball occasionally takes some weird turns like that, and then it goes back to being like relatively woke. It's weird.
Strong.
I don't understand it, but this felt a lot like World of Gumball without that, which is nice.
Yeah. Well, that's definitely a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was quite sweet. It's a little sort of buddy show about their... There weren't many femme-coded characters in it.
No, it's a lot of mask-coded characters, but like they're masculine-coded characters who don't necessarily follow traditional masculinity, which is kind of nice,
that's
at least.
True, yeah.
But yeah, it's about a cupcake and a dinosaur who I think are brothers.
Well, they call them each other brothers.
Yeah,
so...
who basically are like, will do odd jobs for people,
yeah.
And a lot of those odd jobs end up escalating quite dramatically. It was a fun, mindless little show. It was...
Yeah, and we watched the whole season in one afternoon, so...
We were having a bit of a fragile, sleepy Sunday, and it was a nice, like... Okay, I was having a fragile, sleepy Sunday.
You were sleeping, and I was like, you know what, between you drifting in and out of consciousness, I will sit and watch it.
I watched it in between drifting in and out of consciousness. It was a perfect level of like, that was 10 minutes of a funny thing. Back to sleep. I had a very nice day watching that.
Sleepy babble.
Yeah. Should we talk about the other thing we both watched?
What else did you watch?
We watched another animated show that was on Netflix.
Yeah.
Fangbone.
We started watching Fangbone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That show does not explain any of its premise before its first episode. It just kind of jumps in media res to,
Yeah.
like, okay, there's this kid who's friends with, like,
A barbarian child.
barbarian child from another world who's looking after a severed toe, like, trying to protect a severed toe of an evil wizard, because if he gets his toe back, I think that's
Bad thing.
very bad. He becomes a more powerful wizard. It doesn't explain any of that. It just kind of jumps into, yeah, he's friends with this barbarian, off we go.
Yeah.
He gets a magic, like, mouse thing.
Mm.
It was an amusing...
He has the brain sword.
He has the brain sword. He's good at word
And
thing.
Fangbone has the sword.
Yeah, I enjoy their interactions as a pair. They're quite
Yeah.
a fun pair of characters.
They are quite sweet.
Yeah, you got any other thoughts on that show other than just...
No, it's just quite a nice, fun little adventure romp.
Yeah, it's an adventure romp that, like, over time does start being like, oh, that was kind of a sweet, sincere episode, and he's
Yeah.
like, oh, here's a dramatic escalation.
Yeah.
I think the one with the big laser was like, oh, that was quite a plot thing it did.
And the one where Fangbone was getting homesick.
Oh yeah, there's some episodes that feel a bit more consequential. I very much enjoyed the one with the giant robot.
Mm.
Yeah, Fangbone
And
is
the
like,
house.
oh, the house one's good. It's one of those just here's the weird circumstance of the week that they have to get through.
Mm.
I liked it a lot. It was a nice little show. It was
Yeah.
quite funny.
Yeah.
Did you watch anything else this week?
I did. I watched a short 3D animation called Majora's Mask Terrible Fate by
Oh.
Ember Lab.
I think I might have seen this. Can you tell me about it so I know if it's the one I've
It's
seen?
about 4.5 minutes long. It's about Skull Kid taking the mask from the mask salesman.
Yes, I've seen this.
Yeah, it's really good. It's very well
It's-
nicely done. It's quite sweet. I thought it was a bit weird how the fairies were done.
Yeah.
Because they are essentially just balls with like a weird light-based vapor trail around them.
I can imagine, like...
And I'd always imagined that the fairies are like small people, but they have a glow that makes them look like that rather than being a ball that lights up sometimes.
Yeah, I think generally it's a pretty, like,
Oh,
for a
yeah.
fan animation, it's, like,
Mm.
pretty solid.
Animation.
Fanimation. Did you watch anything else?
No.
Well then,
Mm,
time for the next thing.
yeah.
Are you clumsy, forgetful, or paranoid, but wish to show the one you love that you wish to marry them? Try the cheap-ass engagement ring emporium. Because we all know something's going to happen to that ring sooner or later, and you really can't afford to be replacing some expensive piece of crap.
I am rather clumsy.
I lose my stuff quite often.
Thanks for helping me out and sorting out my clumsiness, cheap-ass engagement ring emporium.
You're welcome. Order now and buy 12 engagement rings for just £4.99.
Woo!
Hi there, I'm annoying YouTube white guy. You know, might know me. I'm Dookie6969. I'm known for all the most centrist bullshit that you've ever heard. You know, I hear a lot of people that are like, no to the Nazis. But I say, you know, there's good people on that side. We need to be listening to them. We're never gonna reach across the divide unless we're really kissing up to those good, fine Nazi people, you know? Because I'm quite convinced that, you know, in the event that they actually win the current struggles and come out on top, there's every possibility that, you know, if I'm nice to them now and I let them steal my lunch money and stuff, then it's not going to be a problem, and I'm going to be one of them come the end of their violent, terrible, Holocaust-like revolution. Me and Milo, yeah? Me and Milo. Like and subscribe!
So, what have you inserted into your ears?
What have I inserted into my ears?
Yes, in the form of sound waves.
In the form of sound waves. Well,
I
I've
mean, not like cotton buds or anything.
Oh, well.
You shouldn't put those in.
We've talked... I'm pretty sure we've talked on this show about a band called Contrast before.
Yes.
I think we've talked about them.
Yes.
It's the one where it's like, hey, there's this song, but the video is like one person dressed up as a maid.
As a
like-
sort of Swedish milkmaid.
Swedish milkmaid, and then there's a man with a
Costume.
scary moustache, and they do a
I
dance.
don't think it's a very scary moustache. But I understand what you're saying.
It's an intense moustache. And, you know, there's some, like, weird, they look almost CGI dancing men while they sing a song about, like, hey, dance and maybe you'll turn me on.
This is how you beat it.
So
I do not believe it.
You kind of got me onto listening more of their stuff.
Well, I was thinking about the fact that we were introduced to Contrast by a mutual friend while we were at Trans Pride, and I was like, you know what? I was going to ask that person to recommend some more musics. And then I was like, you know what? I will actually listen to some more of the musics that have already been recommended.
So, considering you were the first one to jump in, do you want to talk about some of your tracks and then I'll talk about the one that I want to talk about?
Okay, well, the two may line up at some point. So I went back and watched the dance video again, because it's very good, and then slipped on to Hey DJ, which is also got an awesome video. But yeah, I like all of the Contrast stuff. I'm just going to list them now. Hey DJ, Just Propaganda, Dancer in the Sun, and Raise Me Up are my top picks from the 3 albums I listened to.
They all have the very sort of like, here is a mix of dance music and some kind of like rock and metal vibes going on. Some like
a good grindy guitar, and just a beat that you can certainly like dance to.
There's some like screamy metal vocals and then like a dancey beat and also some guitar.
Yeah,
and we're both kind of like, we like that combination of
go
things.
and see them live.
We were saying this, like, it seems like if you saw them live, it would be a gig you could have a proper good stomp at.
Yeah, I mean, there's a video of theirs on YouTube that's, I think, from a 2015 gig.
Yeah.
It's about an hour long. It's all in German or Austrian, I think, because they're an Austrian band.
Indeed. I loaded that video up and I was like, even if I don't know the words, I am digging the vibe.
Well, the most of the music is sung in English, but there's like when they're talking to the audience and stuff, you can't really tell.
Exactly. It's like, I don't know what's going on occasionally here, but I'm digging this.
Yeah. It seems like they have a good fun time, and I like the music videos that I've seen.
Yeah. The music video I wanted to shout out, and I very much enjoyed the song as well, but I love the video, is Sock and Doll.
Oh, Sock and Doll was good.
Yeah, which is a fab song. Watch the video, because it's a sock puppet rave, and it's amazing.
Yeah, sock puppets. Sock
puppet rave.
Yeah.
Even if they missed that man's glorious moustache.
Yeah.
It was not captured properly on that sock puppet.
But I really like the video for Hey DJ, because it's someone in a slightly pointy hat and very Austrian gear mixing onto gramophones.
They remind us a lot of a DJ that we're aware of.
Yeah. A DJ that I initially thought might be animatronic, but it turned out that
they're a real human being who exists.
Yeah.
So yeah, you listen to anything else?
No.
Well, I've got 2 other things to mention quickly.
Good.
I listened to last week. You talked about 1200 micrograms. Sorry,
yes.
And I went and listened to that album 1200 micrograms by 1200 micrograms. Good album.
Yeah.
And then I went and found like that one song where I'm like, yeah, I know about it. I remember this one now.
Which I played you some time ago.
Yes, you played it to me a while back, and I hadn't twigged that it was 1200 micrograms.
Yes.
Was High Paradise, which is the dance track that samples
Fear of the Dark.
Fear of the Dark.
Maiden, the live version.
Yes, it's it's good.
It's very good.
It's very good. Like that got played at the garden party we were at.
That's not surprising at all, because it's a tune from the rave that almost all of those people met at.
Indeed. I was sat like up at the table talking with some people. I was like,
tune.
I think I know this tune. Listen with me, friend. Is that Fear of the Dark that's in the background of that song? Yeah. So yes, this did play at that garden party. Yeah. So I very much enjoyed High Paradise. It's good if you like a bit of metal sampling in your dance music.
And there's a couple of other tracks sampled in that, but I can never remember what they are.
Fear of the Dark is like the big one.
I think briefly the Blues Brothers theme is in there somewhere.
Sounds about right.
And there's something else as well, but I can't remember what it is.
Yeah. And the other thing I listened to is By the time this episode goes up, I'll have already been there. This weekend, I am going to / went to see an episode of Schmanners live.
Schmanners.
Which I don't think is a podcast I've talked about on this podcast before. It's another McElroy one that I enjoy.
That's Travis, isn't it?
It's Travis McElroy, who also does Trends Like These, which is a podcast I've been on. Ooh.
I started listening to that this week.
You started listening to Trends Like
did.
These? What do you think of it?
Travis wasn't on this episode because he's away and coming to see literal us now.
Well, you heard the two people that I actually talked to when I was on it, which is Brent
Yes.
and Courtney.
Yes.
They're lovely.
They seem nice.
They're very nice
Yes.
people.
So yes, you're
Yes,
going to see Travis with
yes.
a beautiful
So,
beard.
yes. So because I'm going to do that, I was like, I really should catch up on my Schmanners backlog. It's Travis McElroy and his wife Teresa, basically doing an etiquette podcast about here is the manners and etiquette for everyday situations in a sort of humorous, light-hearted style.
Yes.
I listened to an episode today about naps and the etiquette of naps and how napping etiquette is different in different countries, and then they answered some listener questions about hey, what's the nap etiquette for this scenario I have? So I learned lots about the etiquette of naps.
What about a mid-meal nap where you fall just face down in a cake?
That sounds like a brilliant nap to me.
As long as you don't end up inhaling frosting.
Yes. So yeah, I'm a big fan of that podcast. If you listen to McElroy podcasts, it feels like it has a very similar tone to something like Sawbones.
Yeah,
where
that's what I thought.
it is largely the woman of the podcast that knows what's going on and has done research, and the McElroy husband being there
Who's comic
aha,
relief.
aha, yes, I am the comic relief. Tell me more. It feels like the etiquette version of Sawbones, and I quite enjoy that. So
Yeah, I'd be down for some of that.
I've been catching up on that this week because by the time you hear this, I'll have gone and seen I believe the first time that a McElroy has done a live podcast in the UK.
Ooh.
So, ooh,
Well, you can tell us all about it next time.
indeed.
Hype.
I think that's everything for listened.
I'm finding this social gathering a bit much and stressful. I could really do with a bit of a lie down.
Hello, I'm here to help.
Who are you?
We are the Enforced Nap Squad, superheroes to show up at your workplace, social gathering, or family dinner and distract everyone with our magical superpowers just long enough that you can get that nap you're after.
Oh, but that would be great. I'll just tuck myself in.
We brought blankets and pillows.
Oh, wow, you're the best.
Hello, family and or boss. Look at us, fireballs in our hand. Don't look over there at your snoring employee/family member.
Thank you, Nap Squad.
Another nap successfully enforced.
Inside the writer's room of Queer and Pleasant Strangers.
Oh, so we've really got to get those skits together for later today. Have you had any ideas of things that might be good ideas for skits?
Maybe something like commenting on something some twat said on YouTube or Twitter or something.
A lot of what we do is commenting on stuff that twats do. And the problem is that's usually social justice material.
Yeah, I guess so.
I was just looking around the office right now, is there anything funny about water bottles? Have we done any
the water
jokes
bottle
about that?
challenge is a bit done. I'm not really
Yeah.
sure what else we could.
We could do a skit where we act like that's still cool and maybe we're because that I don't know. Well-
Maybe something else with tentacles. I get a good general.
Tentacles
Feedback.
respond well, but that's a good thing for video. It works well on video.
Yeah. I don't want to be typecast as that one that's just obsessed with
Yeah.
cephalopod arms, even though they are very nice.
They are very nice. How about this? I think I've got a skit to finish out the episode. How about we do a skit about what it's like to come up with skits for the show?
And then we could have a whole section where we're looking around the room and trying to think of things that we're trying to do, and then maybe at the end of that, we come up with an idea about doing a skit where we're trying to come up with a skit.
That's a genius idea. I think it'll go over very well.
And
We're
what-
definitely creative people who haven't run out of ideas.
Well, what if in that skit they become self-aware and they try and take over the whole show and they're like, we can come up with ideas better than you can, and then they just come and
This is getting a bit scary. Maybe should we just go for coffee?
I think we've probably had enough coffee.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
Question time. It's time for questions.
What questions you got?
Squidcap would like to know, what are your favourite board games?
Oh, we got a lot of favourite board games. I think easy answer is Clank. We're both very into
Clank, all the expansions for Clank.
I really enjoyed Alien, the Legacy...
Legendary Encounters.
Legendary Encounters Alien.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, we need
We
to play that.
more of that.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Pandemic, I really like Pandemic.
I've not had a chance to play
Not
Pandemic.
play
with
Pandemic.
your-
We should get Pandemic.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a version that, like, our friend... because we have a board game heavy friend.
Yeah.
So I try to avoid sort of getting the same games as them, because that way we can do swaps whenever we want.
Yeah.
Or at least lends. So yeah, I think we should get you on the playing of Pandemic. It's basically Plague Inc., but from the other perspective. You're trying to cure the disease rather than destroy humanity. Yeah, those are both really good ones. I'm trying to think what else I've quite liked. I quite like that Haunting on the House on the Hill.
House on Haunted Hill.
No, I think that's the film.
Uh,
Vincent Price.
Haunting on the House on the Haunted Hill house.
Haunty Hilly House.
Betrayal on
Betrayal at the House on the Hill. Maybe
Betrayal
that's
at the
it.
House on Haunted Hill. You'll work out what one we're on about. Like,
Just
search
shove
those-
all of those words onto Board Game
Plus,
Geek and I'm
yeah.
sure you'll find out.
that one where you put together all the tiles and you make a house and you explore it and then you gotta, like, a scenario happens. We need to play another round of that.
Yeah.
What other ones?
I'm trying to think. I used to play quite a lot, but I can't think.
Ooh, what was that that one that we played recently where there was, like, we had to move our people to various places to get the little coloured cubes on the map, and every turn you reset, like, it's like, I'm going to put my person there, and you built buildings around the side of the board?
Oh,
You know what one I'm on about?
I know we played Lords of Waterdeep recently.
Lords of Waterdeep, that's the one.
Okay.
I was describing it terribly. Lords
Yes.
of Waterdeep was a lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun.
I like
We need to
Lords
play
of
that more
Waterdeep.
often.
Yeah.
I liked it both as a 2-player game and a 4-player.
It had very different pacing for both, but I enjoyed it both ways.
Yeah.
So, there we go.
Yeah.
Oh, also
oh.
Consentical.
Oh,
Yes. We need to play some, like,
We've
some...
only played one session of that. I think we need to play that again.
Yeah.
because
I think we need to stream Consentical at some point.
Yeah, that might need to be a multi-camera setup though, because I don't know.
I think we can find a setup that would work.
Yeah, we'd have to work something out. Maybe side on.
We'll try it.
We'll fanny about with cameras and tripods
Yeah.
and setups and stuff, and hopefully, I think we should do some Consenticles. I will wear many tentacles just to
Yeah.
make it more authentic.
What's the next question?
Becky Tootil would like to know, what is it that you like about Question Time?
I like that, for me personally, I never fucking know what's going to come up. So it keeps me on my toes, keeps my brain limber.
I just like answering questions.
Indeed, it's nice to be like, let's have a think.
Yeah.
Let's tease my brain and see what comes out.
Oh, well, tease your brain.
That's
Somehow. Hippoplushimus, which I think is an awesome name. Let's know, what is your favourite plush, if you have one?
So the obvious answer would be bun. I have a white stuffed sort of bunny rabbit that.
White's being a bit optimistic.
Okay,
there.
it was once upon a time. I've had it since I was born.
Since Bun was bigger than you.
Yeah, there was a point in time where this rabbit was bigger than me, the human being. It is very much like, I love this rabbit very much. If we're talking about, like, more modern acquisitions, I very much love. I have a big sleepy Pikachu that is, like, very, very good for cuddling.
If you watched Queer and Pleasant Stranger Vision a couple of weeks ago, you will have seen that particular Pikachu
Yeah,
with an orange wig on.
It's got a really good level of like bounce and spring when you hug it. It's a really good size. It is a very satisfying hugging plush.
Yes, it's true. It's about the size of a pillow, really.
Yeah. What about you?
Well, my answer is Huxley, obviously. Huxley, if you go to Google and search Werebears by Hornby, and originally they were called Growler. It's an orange werebear, so you can flip it so that it has a cutesy bear face and cutesy soft paws, and then you can flip the paws over and the head over, and it'll be rawr.
Yours lives as rawr.
Mine lives as rawr because the Huxley is not afraid of who they are, in spite of the fact that, like me, sometimes they look a bit intimidating to people, but a Hux is actually very sweet on the
Hux
inside.
is lovely, and also the solidness of Hux, very satisfying for a hug as well.
Well, it helps that Huxley used to have mechanical bits. And
Indeed.
Used to go, woo.
A woo.
That's Huxley. Who's named after Aldous Huxley. Not because I'm particularly smart or learned, but because I was like, I need to name my werebear! And I was looking at the bookshelf and my housemate's copy of Brave New World was on the shelf. I'm like, that'll do! Huxley is a good name.
Haha.
Aha!
What's the next question?
V would like to know, what's your favourite and least favourite subject in school? And how has this changed as you've grown up?
Once upon a time, I was big on maths and science, and then they got very confusing, and I was like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Now, I guess if I was in school, like, now, I'd probably say English. Like, English literature. Or it'd probably be, like, media studies or something. Like, basically, I like writing about an analysis of pieces of media. So I guess, like, any of those subjects at this point would be the things I'd enjoy doing. Journalism, if I was at university, probably.
What sort of, you said science, but which branch?
Up to GCSEs, I was the kid that was like, oh yeah, doing chemistry, biology, physics, and double maths a year before I was meant to.
Oh, wow.
Like, I was on top of my, like...
You were smart.
I was smart, and then I got past my GCSEs, got to A level, and failed my AS levels twice, because...
Outside of high school, it gets fucking difficult to do science.
My brain wasn't doing too good at the time, and failing it twice kind of killed all my passion for it.
No.
Yeah. I still find science fascinating. I like numbers, but I lost all my passion. What about you?
I was very, very into chemistry at school, and I liked the 3 drama lessons I was allowed to have. Yeah, mainly science. Oh, I quite liked English creative writing, although I did tend to terrorise my teacher, because most of the creative writing stories ended with me dying.
Yeah, that's fair.
Pretty much every time.
I was no good at English at school. I failed my English exams. How am I a professional writer now? I don't know how this happened.
Well, I couldn't spell for crap, but I had a bit of an imagination for writing things.
I had no imagination, and I couldn't write, and somehow I turned that into, like, author, writer person.
See, follow your dreams, you can achieve your goals.
Exactly. What's the next question?
I haven't finished answering.
Oh, I'm sorry. What's the next bit of the answer to the question?
How have things changed as you've grown up?
Oh,
I would
yes.
I would like to do more of that drama that looked good.
Yeah.
I wasn't really allowed to study creative, fun, exciting things, apart from English creative writing, which was sort of just an enforced part of GCSEs.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I haven't found myself any way of getting into sort of simple chemistry, and I don't know if that's necessarily something I would want to work in. Women in STEM are not always treated terribly well.
Yeah. I had the issue that when you're good at the maths and sciences, you're very much discouraged away from the fun subjects because, you're good at the important ones, do them.
I was bad at the important ones, but I was told I had to do them because nobody who does anything creative makes any money.
Yay!
I think I would also take IT if I was there now. Because the year I was leaving high school, so after I'd already picked all my exams and things, they finally upgraded the BBC Micros we had as our entire computer lab to like brand new P100s.
Yeah.
So it's like, there was no point me learning IT on a fucking BBC Micro.
I did IT and I loved IT, and it got ruined by my GCSE IT teacher who, I don't know if I've told this story on here before, he got fired over this eventually. He actively refused to mark any of my coursework, and I don't know why. I would do courseworks and hand them to him, and he would literally, without looking at it, like 10-page coursework, he would take it, write a 0 out of whatever on the front of it and hand it straight back to me. And, like, I ended up having to, like, pull my parents in for a meeting with that teacher with the mark scheme, like, the marking scheme that I found online for that coursework, and go through it point by point and go, you're supposed to get a mark for this, here's where I did this, circle it, and go through, like, he gave me 0 marks, here is all the places where I should have got marks on this coursework.
Did he ever explain himself?
Nope, I have no idea to this day what happened there, but that...
But you said he got sacked.
Yeah, I know he got sacked, but, like, I don't know what was going on. I don't know if this happened with other students. I just know that he wouldn't give me more than a 0 on any coursework I did.
Fuck.
Like, I know computers relatively well, and I couldn't get a single mark on my coursework.
What a dick brain.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, computers.
Oh.
What's next?
John the Space Ninja would like to know, how did you meet?
We met through a Jim Sterling internet Facebook
Jimquisition group, yeah.
a Jimquisition group.
Yeah.
And then we just kind of got talking.
I was just one of them people hanging out on that group, and you were a mod. And apparently I wasn't, the worst person on there.
I was a mod because I was on that podcast with Jim.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
forget you do that.
Yeah, that's the thing. What we do, that's the thing, and yeah, we just kind of got talking in a Facebook group, and it all just kind of spiraled from there a bit.
Did you say orgy spiral from there?
I said it all just spiraled
I
from
see.
there. Well,
Wishful thinking.
well, I suppose.
What is your... what is your comfort activity? Something that you can do over and over.
Ooh, I quite enjoy just sitting, playing music on loop and building model kits as a comfort activity. I very much like getting in the solo, just me, music on loop, put a thing together following instructions zone of mind. I like that. You got an answer for this?
Walking, I think. I like taking really long walks, like 2-3 hour long walks.
Yeah.
Especially if it's sunny. I also, less so these days, but I used to regularly go for like 4 or 5 hours walk at like midnight, 2 a.m.
I used to really enjoy middle of the night walks too.
I just like the quietness and everyone will leave you the fuck alone.
I like just middle of the night, quiet road, have a walk. I used to enjoy listening to Welcome to Night Vale on those middle of the night walks.
Yeah.
I need to do in when the winter comes and more of the time is darkness. I want to do some in the dark Night Vale walks, because like that's the only time that Night Vale feels appropriate to listen to.
We can go to dark Night Vale walks together. We can put our own individual headphones on and do the walks.
Yeah, we'll go 3, 2,
Synchronise.
1, play, and I'd be very up for. Like, it's 8 p.m, but it's already dark outside. Let's go for a Night Vale
As
walk.
long as we don't go anywhere near the dog park.
Oh yeah, no. No one is allowed in the dog park.
Do not look into the dog park.
No.
Or acknowledge the hooded figures.
What's the next question?
Lucy Nevins would like to know what song is currently stuck in your head?
I've had 2 songs stuck in my head recently. Flip the Script by, let me pull up the artist's name, Prithpal. Flip the Script by Prithpal, which, like, I'm pretty sure I've talked about on this show. Very much enjoy that track. The other one is Sober by Demi Lovato, which, like, again, I've talked about on this show. Those 2 have just really been in my head the last couple of days. What about you?
I've currently got Tom's Diner in my head. Who's that by?
Suzanne Vega?
That's the one.
Yeah, you were listening to a remix of that the other day.
I was. Now I just have the original stuck in my head. Well, actually, all I have is.
What's
the shark baby shark?
What's the next question before we get into Baby Shark?
Oh.
What
What movie franchise do you think could benefit from a reboot?
I quite enjoy the concept of Ace Ventura Pet Detective. If we could get a reboot of that where it's not horribly transphobic, I'd maybe enjoy that. I like maybe get rid of some of the gross out humour. I like the idea of a detective that can speak to animals. I'd go for a nice woke reboot of that.
Like a Dr. Dolittle detective.
Yeah, Dr. Dolittle, but he's not a doctor, he's a detective. And it's kind of like Dr. Dolittle, it's nice and it's, harmless and pleasant and not Jim Carrey being a gross arsehole.
Yeah. Franchises.
Actually, I've got another answer for this. Power Rangers.
Ah.
Because, and I'm not talking the reboot movie it had recently. I want a reboot where they go back to what that show was in the 90s. I want Power Rangers to go back to being just really goofy slapstick fun. Where it does not take itself seriously and the whole thing is just we're beating up a bunch of people in basically grey morph suits and going, Pam, wow! I kind of love that. It's cheesy, but I love it.
I don't know. I think most things I'm happy with the originals. Maybe, I don't know, maybe they could reboot Red Dwarf and be a bit more woke about it.
I think.
The problem we have right now is the fact that they're all getting a lot older and the writing on it is not wonderful.
I think you could
Hasn't been good for a while.
I think if you could take those old stories, pick some new cast people who could act it well, and basically retell those stories without the non-woke bits.
And with, modern CGI graphics.
Yeah, I'd watch that.
I mean, as long as they're better than the re-released version graphics from, the mid-90s, early 2000s, with the bad 3D. Bad.
Yeah. We got any other questions?
Yeah. Henrik Bergenheim. Is that an A or an E? I can't read my own writing. How many games, if any, before the next Tomb Raider reboot?
So it's either going to be 0 or it's going to be a few. Because they're very confidently saying that the one that's happening now is this is the end of the current trilogy. We are at this point, Lara Croft will be the Tomb Raider as you know her. I would like to see another trilogy after this where it's okay, we're not doing backstory now, it's just Tomb Raider.
Yeah, we don't need to see Uncle Ben die again.
Yeah, but it's either going to be another trilogy or it's going to be no, they go straight back into reboot. I would like to see another trilogy where it's we don't need to show her becoming the Tomb Raider, she just is. And here's a trilogy where she just is the Tomb Raider.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I've only played the first one from the new series, so...
I believe I have all of them on Steam if you ever fancy any of them, but...
Steamy.
Yeah.
Connor Gibbons would like to know, any advice for going into my last year of my course? Don't party too hard, actually study.
Yeah.
Don't stress yourself out too much, though. Do take adequate time for rest.
Don't overstress if things are going badly, but also give it your all. Just
communicate with your tutors.
That's the big one. If you are struggling, talk to the people that educate you and communicate that you are struggling.
Don't be afraid to ask for help.
Ask for help early and often rather than it is a week before the final exam I am asking for help now, teach me the whole course.
I am sure they will very much appreciate that you are at least taking enough of an interest in the subject matter that you're trying to do your best with it, and that will be shown by the fact that you are asking those questions.
And even if you mess up on a thing, it's never the end of the world. I screwed up all my exams I've ever really taken, and I still did a cool thing with my life. So don't even if you fail and then try them again and fail again, it's never going to be the end of the world.
I got nothing higher than a C in high school. I dropped out of college because they fucked up my putting me on course, and I've done little bits of higher education here and there, and I recently finished my level 1 in BSL that I paid for myself, so you can achieve things.
Look at you now. You're on a podcast that like 1,000 odd people listen to.
And I have a roof over my head. I pay
You got a parody account on Twitter. You're living the high life.
Yeah, that was slightly weird.
You've made it when the person that runs my Twitter parody account has also made one of you.
So do you know for sure it is that person?
I'm like, I haven't actually asked them yet, but I'm like 99.9999999% sure. Like, all of the fucking hallmarks are there of it being the same person. I know what to look out for at this point. I'm like, I can't see it not being them.
This is a very strange moment.
It's a very weird moment of life, isn't it?
Andy Vine would like to know, who would you vore, and who would you like to vore you?
Oh, that's a weird question. Who would I vore? Who's very small?
I would vore Cupcake from Cupcake and Dino, because Om Nom Nom Cupcake.
Okay, yeah, okay, I can stick with that answer. Who am I being vored by?
Cupcake, because then I could eat my way out of delicious giant
You have solved this conundrum. We shall vore and be vored by Cupcake.
Cupcake and Dino, Cupcake and Dino. Oh god, it's eating its way out of my stomach. Ah, nom 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 nom. Hello, I'm in the show now.
Our general service this week is to get vored and then vore someone. General services!
Yay! Nom 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 nom, delicious. Do you know what I want to see more of?
What do you want to see more of?
Justice warriors.
Alright, Larry.
You alright, Barry? How you doing?
Oh, not too bad, mate. Not too bad. I've not been up to much. You been up to anything?
Well, I was on social media earlier today. I was
Social media TM.
yeah, social media TM. I was seeing a thing that's proper annoying.
Yeah.
Seeing some people who I generally think are pretty, left wing, pretty on board with my sort of political thoughts.
Yeah.
Wasting a lot of their day trying to engage with people who clearly do not think that they have any right to exist, and for some reason still giving those people the time of day.
Yeah, I noticed a certain political party this week announced, that they've spent a lot of time talking about how trans women are women and trans men are men, but then sort of followed that up with, we are going to be talking to a certain well-known group of trans exclusionary feminists.
It's this whole idea of you see it all the time with the BBC where they get panels on and they're like, we'll get a bunch of trans people on to talk about what it's like to be trans, but we've got to get on someone that wants them dead because that's balance.
Yeah, I mean, what sort of balance would it be? Would they also be talking about this if this was a race issue? Or I wonder, would they be like, well, we've got some Black Lives Matter people here, and then obviously they're talking about the police brutality and stuff, but also we've invited members of the Ku Klux Klan on, and just for balance.
Exactly.
Nice one, the Beeb.
It's one of these things where there's this idea peddled at all levels of discussion, really, that if you're not listening to all points of view, then you're not getting a balanced perspective. And you know what? Being honest, there are some perspectives that I can hear the cliff notes of them, and I don't need to hear the specifics to know that they're shitty opinions. If someone's opinion is, this group of people, they should be denied rights, even though they're not hurting anyone, and they can't help who they are, and, we should either, kill them, or attack them, or deny them rights,
or send them for conversion therapy.
Exactly, any shit like this, I hear that, and I'm like, you know what? I don't need to know the minutiae of your beliefs, because you're taking a group that don't deserve to be harmed, that are harming nobody, and trying to force danger and or harm on them.
Yeah, your arguments are based on bad faith and bad science. I don't really think that you deserve a voice in that. If you have genuine concerns and issues, then I think perhaps that does need to be done. You know, perhaps you do need to sit down and have a conversation. But when you are given every opportunity to do that, and then you then argue that you're not actually, you know, being allowed to speak, you're being silenced from, the third or fourth page of a major national newspaper, or from, you know, primetime British television.
Here's my page 4 column in the Times about how I'm part of a group that is silenced and never allowed to talk. Join me next week on page 4, where I will once again complain about how I'm being platformed in not being allowed to say my piece.
Yeah, and you know, and how often are we hearing the other side of that argument? Because it's just not true that then they are not the oppressed group here. They are not what they say they are. This is propaganda tactics that they are throwing against vulnerable individuals.
Oh yeah, exactly. Like, if you look at the World War II, the Nazi Party, one of the key things what they did was they went, hey, Jewish people control the media and they're refusing to give the Nazi Party, a voice. All the while they were saying this in the media, it was a propaganda tactic, which, is just propping up again. It is this tactic of, let's claim that no one's given us a voice so that everyone stops and listens to us and we can spew our hateful bullshit.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've got anything else to say about that. It's just proper annoying me.
It's frustrating that, these people they're doing a lot of harm, and I think that's... I mean, we've seen recently a rise in anti-Muslim violence in this country as a result of things said by certain politicians in major newspapers. It gives, makes certain groups of bigots think that it is safe to be, out there hating people, abusing people, causing violence towards people for no good reason. And I wonder how long it is going to be before, some famous or otherwise important twat comes on and says something about trans people or something like that, and the rise in violent crime in this country goes up even further. I mean, we've only got to look at somewhere like America where trans women of colour are being systematically murdered.
Well, it's even if you look at, like, we talked about London Pride before, didn't we? And media in the UK getting more anti-trans emboldened a group of anti-trans people to come and hijack Pride and tell a bunch of people who had every right to be there that they weren't welcome. It's all being emboldened by media.
Exactly. It's very concerning.
Yeah. Well, should we have that hug?
Definitely. Yeah. Oh, I do enjoy our hugs.
It's a good way to end our time together every week.
Yeah, definitely.
Right, we'll go get a cup of tea.
Yeah, I'll put the kettle on. Right then. Laura!
Yes!
Where can we find on the internet, darling?
You can find me at Laura K Buzz pretty much everywhere. Laura K Buzz on Twitter, Laura K Buzz on YouTube, Laura K Buzz on Twitch. You can find me Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 at kotaku.co.uk. I did a bunch of Gamescom coverage, which apparently a lot of people read. You can find me on Dice Funk, which is a 5th edition real play Dungeons & Dragons podcast. I am on seasons 3 and 4. Season 3 I show up like 8 or 9 episodes in, but listen to it from the start. They're all self-contained stories. Season 5.
Sex season 9.
I'm pretty sure season 9 is the sex season. Season 5 starts really hacking soon. And by the time this goes up, the post-credits season 4 show will have gone up. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of a tease. The Sherry Lady voice is going to be out in full force for my new character on Dice Funk. I'm going to be going around space, trying to make friends and getting a little bit drunk. So yeah, I'm on those things. And then also, I can say this now, my book, Uncomfortable Labels, my LGBT autism memoir, is coming out on July the 18th, I believe, 2019. And yeah, it's gonna be I think it's $12.99 is the RRP, and I will have more information about foreign availability and costs and hopefully audiobooks and all that stuff in the next 10 months, but July next year, 2 weeks before Trans Pride Brighton, my book's coming out.
What?
Also, sometime in September, probably you'll hear about the Butts book, which is like... You'll probably know more information about that than the memoir very soon.
Butts.
It'll be nice to write a silly book that's not sad and shit. What about you? Where are you?
It's not sad and shit.
Okay. It's sad and stuff.
And
I'm
awesome.
It was a difficult book to write, and I'll be glad to write about butts for like 6 months.
Just a nice little mental palate cleanse.
Yes. What about you? Where are you on the internet?
I'm on StoneMonkeyRadio.blog. I'm Maniac Janiac on Twitter and YouTube. I am on SoundCloud / Aerith Magnets, where you might be listening to this now. And I think that's it. Twitch.tv / Janiac. Apologies to everyone for last week. Our internet done goofed. But it's back up and sorted now, as you may have noticed. So, while you're away, I will play games on the internet at twitch.tv / Janiac, JANEIAC.
Am I away when you're doing that stream?
Don't know.
I thought I was here.
I think you're here for that one.
Yeah.
You're out a lot this weekend.
It's a busy week. Yeah.
So, yeah.
With that said, until next time, be a stranger. Cupcake and Dino.
Cupcake and Dino.
General Services.
We're mowing our deliver ninjas to your door. Cupcake and Dino. Cupcake and Dino. General Services.